Here's all the details for the latest updates on Microsoft Flight Simulator. It includes the upcoming city update as well as the new aircraft and avionics update. What is this all about? Well, let's dive in and take a look. Immediately then, we can see public testing continues. That's a beta test on the new major release, which is the aircraft and avionics update, the second such release. Testing on this is currently undergoing. That is a beta build. What is it all about? Well, let's take a look. So the aircraft and avionics updates, as you might gather from the title, focus exclusively on the core mechanics of the sim. That is the aircrafts themselves, as well as, everything that goes into them, the flight model and all the interior components. We can see that Update 2 has a massive focus on glass cockpits, specifically the Garmin G3000 and the G5000. Now, those of you who are long-time followers of the channel and Microsoft Flight Simulator will be aware that Asobo, who work on the sim, have handed the work out for the glass cockpits, the Garmin glass cockpits, to a third-party studio working title, and they've done some very impressive work on this over the past. Previously, the glass cockpits, the Garmin G1000 was very basic and has had substantial updates. So it's now turned for the G3000 and 5000, which is getting quite a few fixes here, as you can see, and this will also cover some fixes for the other Garmin cockpits, as well as some of the other displays as well. But perhaps the biggest focus for this particular update is the Boeing 787. Immediately you can see here there is a rather extensive list, and this, to all intents and purposes, is going to rework much of the 787. We'll just go through a couple of the top points here to give you a feel of what that means. There's going to be a comprehensive visual overhaul of the avionics for accurate font, symbology, look, operation and feel. Visually accurate PFD supporting rising runway indication, ILS symbology, FPV and much more, as well as independent multifunctional display screens supporting viewpane system management. You can see all the way down here that there is a lot of work that's going into the 787. So effectively what this means is that Microsoft are really keen on bringing the basic included aircraft up to a very high standard. Traditionally, Microsoft Flight Simulators had fairly basic aircraft that come with the sim, and simmers instead have had to rely on third-party aircraft. So whilst third-party aircraft are still very much a thing with the latest iteration of the sim, what Microsoft and Asobo are doing here is focusing on some of the core included planes and bringing up to a very high level. The Cessna Citation Longitude is also going to get some work on it in this update, and the DBM 930 is getting, just a very small fix here, but nonetheless, this is all very welcome. Now, for those of you who are more interested in other updates, such as world updates, what is coming later on this year? Well, we do have a new development roadmap here. We can see that focuses on the next 4 months. We've already gone past April, we're into the middle of May already, but the particular interest is what we can see for June and July here. Now, May is effectively empty in terms of delivery. That's because Asobo have slowed down the release cadence somewhat. They want to focus on quality rather than quantity. I'm all for that. So in June, between the 19th and the 23rd, this is going to be a very big week for the sim. There's going to be a City Update 2, which focuses on France. So my impression is that Microsoft are kind of viewing city updates as an alternative to world updates. These will focus on bringing photogrammetry cities, so new photogrammetry cities, as well as updating the photogrammetry for existing cities. So yes, France has had a world update in relatively recent times, but some of the cities could certainly do with some more work. Aircraft and avionics update, we've already spoken about that. That is scheduled for the 23rd of June. So one update on the 19th of June is currently scheduled here, another for the 23rd. So two big updates, very, very close together. Something for everyone, whether you're into the rather hardcore aspects of the sim or whether you're into the more visually appealing aspects of the sim. There should be something here of interest. Now as we move into July, you can see there is a surprise. This is yet to be announced. Now do keep in mind here that in early June, Microsoft do have a conference. Traditionally, June is the E3, the biggest consumer entertainment show of the year. But this year, E3 has kind of disappeared because so many of the big parties have pulled out. That includes Microsoft, Sony, I believe Ubisoft have pulled out of E3 as well, all preferring to do their own conferences or some sort of alternative. So yeah, E3 seems to be going the way of the dodo. But that nonetheless, Microsoft do have a showcase in June. They will be showing off Starfield. That's going to be a big thing. But for those of you more interested in Sims, I'm almost certain that Microsoft Flight Simulator will be putting in an appearance here, and they will have something to announce. And whatever they announce will be releasing in early July. So fingers crossed that's going to be something interesting. I think last year there was the Halo Pelican, wasn't there? A nice little surprise there. So maybe something of a similar caliber this year. And then we move on to the wish list, the things that are in active development. This, of course, is the wish list from April 27th. That is the latest wish list we have. That means a bunch of the content here is for World Update 13, which has at this point already released. We've got some elements here for Sim Update 13. A quick look at those. Logbook issue fix. Fix the case where Logbook was reaching a maximum size and stopped saving a new flight. So kind of a minor fix there, but a very important one. The World Updates are also going to get some fixes here. So 2 additional TIN editors have been hired to accelerate the work and have Canadian cities and City Update Germany fixed. This is really good. It's basically meaning that Microsoft and Asobo are returning to previous content and improving upon it. Traditionally, this is something you don't often see with a lot of games, even live service games. Developers tend to release new content and then move forwards. But Microsoft are quite happy to go back to older content, as we can see here. Points of interest and airport fixes are going to be made for content that was released between Updates 12 and World Updates 3, so that is going to be pretty good. That is coming in Sim Update 13. Also, aircraft fixes in Update 13, and then in World Update 14, pretty big thing. That is going to be the scenery gateway system. Now, you may have noticed from the development roadmap, there's no mention here of World Update 14. So yeah, this says that the gateway is going to hopefully be rolled out in May or June. There's been some issues with it, so it's taken a bit longer than expected. You can see here though that in June, July time, May, there's no mention of World Update 14. So one of two things, as far as I see it, is either going to happen here. The Scenery Gateway is going to be released in either City Update 2 or the Aircraft and Avionics update. I think that's unlikely. Otherwise, it's going to be released with World Update 14 as originally planned, which probably at this point is going to be scheduled for August or maybe a little later. But there we have it. That's all the latest content to come in this year that we know so far. Of course, further into the year, the third and fourth quarters, there's going to be more content that we don't know much about, if anything, just yet. But at least we've got an idea of what to expect for the rest of the second quarter of this year. Do let me know in the comment section below what you're looking forward to. What would you like to see that's not mentioned? What do you think the surprise could be for the July release? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.